Hey champions, Hung Lee here, and welcome to today's presentation where we're going to be discussing how to predictably create a 100k per month business selling productized services without doing any of the fulfillment. So feel free to go ahead and grab a pen and paper, and I promise you that this presentation will be jam-packed with value and aha moments, and rest assured I've got nothing to sell you on this presentation or during this presentation. However, if you're open to possibly partnering together, then I would certainly welcome that. But for now, let's focus 110% on helping you absolutely crush it with today's breakthrough system. Are you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, and overworked as if nothing is working or happening at the moment? To the point you feel like... You may be wondering, who is this presentation for? Well, essentially there are two buckets or two divisions of particular types of demographics that this would be best suited to. The first would be a group of freelancers, digital nomads, marketing consultants, and agency owners who are currently in the business of selling services. You may be selling productized services or struggling to productize your services, but generally focused on doing a lot of custom work. I'll definitely empower you to be able to shift from custom to productized by the end of this presentation. And those types of services may include creative design, web development, search engine optimization, pay-per-click services, search engine marketing, social media management, etc. It's all within the similar lines, but rest assured, don't worry, we'll go ahead and really help you 10x your business without working 10x harder. And the second group are side hustlers who currently or may have a day job but want to substitute it with an additional revenue stream, and or perhaps eventually want to leave the day job and transition into becoming a real entrepreneur. And you may be struggling to attract predictable clients, and by predictable clients I mean those clients who pay on time, pay what you're worth, and don't request silly refunds even after you've done so much phenomenal work. You've stayed up late nights, working all the hours, doing everything possibly to put, i.e. in quotation marks, the customer first, the client first, only to go ahead and actually be out of pocket, which is, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and it's one of the most frustrating moments of your life when you have to deal with it. And rest assured, I'll put you in a place where you do not have to deal with that from today onward. And ever wish you could stop working with these broke or nightmare clients and ascend into working with much more high paying clients? Companies who aren't just local businesses, your mom and pop store who all they care about is, going on the next holiday. The companies who are making 5 million plus or even 10 million plus who more than likely treat you as an actual partner as opposed to someone who's just a vendor that they'll kick around. And are you tired of chasing prospective clients who just end up rejecting your proposals, the proposals that you've spent 10 hours or your team and yourself have spent 10 hours to compile together to make it look all nice and sexy, only to have them reject it, own your soul, and tell you how to do your job correctly when, wait a second, aren't you the expert that they came to in the first place? And if you've ever felt frustrated with where you are financially in life, confused about what path to take because you're pulled in all these different directions, and you feel lonely because you don't get to do the things you want or see the people who matter most in your life, and feeling this huge sense of self-doubt and wondering what on earth is wrong with me. I've tried everything possible. I've done everything that all these gurus said, that you need to work hard, you need to, just hustle, but all of a sudden you're left with less to no results. And are you tired of all the hyped up courses out there that overpromise and underdeliver, leaving you more frustrated and hugely in debt than when you originally started before you even pursued that course to begin with? So in the next 60 minutes or so, I'm going to share how to finally stop wasting your precious time and hard-earned money on broken business models, what I'll call outdated 20th century business models that leave you frustrated, overwhelmed, and completely overworked. Also, my 7-step system to help you go being a struggling freelancer to becoming a strategic deal maker, and the most simple yet predictable way to create a 100k per month global business that allows you to work anywhere, live anywhere, and to stop trading time for money while still building a recession-proof business. Even if you have no product, no existing customers, no email list, no social media following, no experience, no connections, no credibility. Essentially, I don't really like to say the word starting from scratch, but you're close to starting from scratch. It's probably not suited to the person who doesn't even know what an entrepreneur is. This is for someone who's tried a whole bunch of ideas, who is already in business, and they're just bogged down with fulfillment and they want to completely 10x things without working 10x harder. However, the one thing you do need is this big word that very few people actually have the guts to say in today's world, and that is courage. The courage to say screw you to the status quo, the courage to say you've had enough of where you are and you want to go ahead and be in a much better place or be a better version of yourself, and the courage to finally break through whatever barriers or obstacles that have been holding you back, whether it's been this year, last year, any other year, and finally to break through, move forward, and to completely make it happen. So stick around to the end, as I've got a gift for you, and that gift involves a case study, a bonus case study, where I actually went from having a mental breakdown to have the opportunity to orchestrate billion-dollar plus deals in the aviation and aerospace industry. I know it sounds crazy, but stick around to the end and you'll understand how and exactly why this came about. In other words, we'll get you feeling You may be wondering, who is Hung Lee? Who is this Asian dude with this Australian sounding accent? And that's me. So I was born and raised in Perth, Western Australia, but now a global traveller where I reside half of my time in Philippines and the other half is split between flying to Singapore, Australia, United States and even Taiwan to see my awesome business partner Eugene Cheng. I'm also an engineer, mechanical engineer to be exact, turned entrepreneur since 2009, and I officially left corporate in 2012 to go absolutely full-time in this world of entrepreneurship. Throughout the whole process, my entrepreneurial journey, I've built 7 companies and managed to sell 2. First being a mobile app business for 6 figures in 2012, so that was a local business app. So that was a reviews WordPress plugin that integrated quite well with Facebook applications. Second was a digital marketing agency with 40 staff in the Philippines. I got that to 7 figures and sold it for 7 figures in 2014. And our primary client base were local businesses, of which now I will share throughout the presentation, later on in this presentation, as to why if I was to start from scratch, I'd rather follow the advice within this presentation than what I was actually shown back in 2014. And moreover, I've invested more than 2.1 million online advertising, including the mediums such as Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, and also Google AdWords, or now it's officially called Google Ad, with an average net ROI, so net return on investment of 7 to 1. So for every dollar, I'm able to generally bring in an extra $7 regardless of whichever industry I enter. I'm a business growth advisor, licensing strategist, connector, deal maker, mentor who has helped more than 61 entrepreneurs build multiple 6 and even 7-figure businesses while building a messenger payment startup and orchestrating billion-dollar plus deals in the aviation and aerospace field. Here's the disclaimers that I'm not guaranteeing you will achieve the same results or exact same results as me or my clients. However, here's why I love to do what I do and why I'm in the business of entrepreneurship, specifically to mentor and coach other entrepreneurs to achieve the same or similar levels of success. So here are 5 of many success stories. First being Damien, who said, I had the most amazing afternoon with Hung Lee today as he helped me define a clear strategy of how to take my business to the next level by spreading my message further than ever before. Hung absolutely blew me away with his deep level of knowledge around social media and business development. This guy is possibly one of the most inspiring, authentic people I've ever met, and he loaded me up with tools to succeed. I recommend Hung to anyone who wants to take their business to a level far exceeding anything you have ever imagined before. Thank you, Hung, for taking time out of your day to help me bring my vision to fruition. Secondly, we've got Brendan, who was able to close his first $29,500 deal, and he couldn't have done it without my help, which was absolutely flattering and one of the reasons why it definitely melts my heart to be a coach and mentor to others. Third, got Eugene Cheng. So big thanks to the one and only Hung Lee for being a great mentor and an awesome friend. During my life's lowest point, you have taught me how to be optimistic about life, that everything happens for a reason, saying every problem has 2 or more solutions to it, and I couldn't agree more. Thanks for teaching me how to think strategically in business and life, not only to think and learn, but to make decisions and execute. There won't be any results if no actions were ever taken, am I right? You're such a charismatic leader, always bringing out the best in others, always giving your time and energy to help others succeed, even though you have been taken for granted countless times. You have a big heart and the world needs more people like you, onwards and upwards. In a nutshell, Mark says, so let's talk growth. When I started with Hung, I was fluctuating around 17k a month, and now 6 months on, month in, month out, we've grown. Now I'm sitting just below 59,800 in combined monthly revenue from my existing business, and the second agency I recently started plus another opportunity that presented itself will bring in another 21k per month. So right now, just to summarize, Mark is actually on about 300k per month plus. He's absolutely on a rocket ship. So we were able to literally 20x or close to 20x his business in less than 2 years. Like, how's that for growth? Gus was able to go from 5k per month to over 20k per month. Just to summarize, said before I approached Hung to be my coach, life wasn't bad. I had a few steady clients and a few projects on my own. I was making sales worth 5 to 6k per month with an occasional peak up to 10k, but never more than that, and 10k was generally the ceiling. However, the truth of the matter is, today isn't about me or my clients, it's about you. Let's make a deal. There's no get rich quick here. There's no do nothing get paid. No MLM pyramid scheme lovers. I just want to make sure if you fit any of this category, I would more than welcome for you to exit this presentation right now, just to go ahead and allow for you to have more time to focus on other projects you may be pursuing, because it may not be for you. But however, if you do not fit into any of these three categories, then keep at it. Keep watching this webinar. I'll definitely make it worth your time. Sound good? You may be wondering, why on earth now? Like, out of all the times, you know, why right now? Why not 5 years ago? Why not in 10 years' time? Because essentially the game entrepreneurship has changed. And like the well-known angel investor David Rose has said, is that any company designed for success in the 20th century is doomed to failure in the 21st. So if you're using the same business fundamentals and principles that were taken from the industrial age, and you're trying to bring it into the information age, well, in my opinion, it's more of the network age right now, where it's much more important to go ahead and be able to be a connector as opposed to just putting information on the internet. Information is important, of course. However, it is becoming much more commoditized. What is not commoditized are the results we can bring to the table. So that's one thing we're going to really focus on in today's presentations. How do I switch you from being someone who might be trying to sell a bunch of products or, you know, features, whatever sort of like commoditized products or services you're trying to sell, and how do you shift from products and services to being a results-based entrepreneur? So what the hell has happened here? You know, like, surely it didn't happen overnight. Surely it wasn't because of just one thing that's affected each and every one of us. So what the heck has happened here? Here's what's happened. So firstly, most local small business owners' budgets are dramatically reducing while the expectations are exponentially rising. So you may have realized this if you're already in the business of selling to existing local, you know, small business owners, that a lot of them, well, 5 years ago were much more open to investing like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month on particular digital marketing services. Now, being able to get that same budget out of them is an absolute squeeze. No matter how good of a, you know, Wolf of Wall Street seller you are, there's a whole bunch of skepticism, industry gurus who have scarred them. So at the end of the day, there's a much better approach to that, which we'll go ahead and share later. Secondly, more and more of us, you know, if you're a non-millennial, you'll most probably be familiar with how many millennials like get teased for always wanting to have this so-called work-life balance. Personally, I don't believe in work-life balance. I believe in work-life integration, whereby your passion actually becomes a part of your life as opposed to a different segment. If you're a millennial, or if you're someone who's just had enough of the traditional sort of 9-to-5 day job corporate realm, you understand that there's nothing more valuable than the freedom that you uphold in your life. So the freedom of choice, the freedom to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want, is much more valuable than what we've always been referred to as the deferred life plan. Like, the deferred life plan refers to working 40 hours a week for 40 years in hopes of being able to enjoy like your retirement, your wealth, etc. when, you know, you're 60 years old or 70 years old, whatever. The question is, will you actually be around at that time? Because the truth is, I had lots of friends and mentors who will go ahead and say, yeah, you know, I'll be doing this when I'm 60, when I'm 70. And a lot of them actually went at age 40 or even 50, which was absolutely sad to see. However, you know, today's presentation will share a business model with you so that you can definitely avoid that, avoid the deferred life plan, and focus on building a life of freedom. And thirdly, online platforms, Wi-Fi connectivity has also made it much more easier to build a global business that involves both high touch and high tech. So if you've been around entrepreneurship for a while now, let's say more than 5 years, you'll understand that there was just so much sort of press around the fact that, okay, you either have a really high touch business where it's really exclusive, you deal with clients in person, you know, there's no way you can do this online. And then the other side is where it's high tech, completely online, you know, you sell these online courses, or you only do software and you never deal with people. Now, due to the convergence of both, there's a way to be able to provide both high touch, high tech, so that you can build a results oriented business that adds remarkable value, tremendous value, and allows for you to make a great impact on the world. However, the biggest problem that affects the both of us, that some people may have mentioned, but you really hear it in this level of specific context, and that is being able to have the number one skill to create predictable cash flow on demand in the face of uncertainty, in the face of when the economy doesn't go the way you want it to, in the face of when you have, medical bills show up out of nowhere, when you have a particular family member who does something or encompasses something and you need to go ahead and make it rain, so to speak. This is the most important skill of the 21st century, and here's how to hack our way to predictable cash flow. First, we need to understand that there are three pillars in this field of creating predictable cash flow, and the three main pillars encompass the following. First pillar is dealing with an industry, or at least dealing with clients who are able to help you generate giant profits, massive profit margins. Like, you've met so many entrepreneurs who say, yeah, I've built this $100 million business, and then when you look at the profit margins, they're barely bringing home $1 million or even $500,000. Those are the types of low profit margin businesses that honestly will just add way too much stress. Like, can you imagine taking the stresses and responsibilities of running a $100 million business or managing $100 million worth of revenue only to be paid $500,000? Wouldn't you rather go ahead and actually run like a $600,000 business and keep $500,000? Yet the choice is yours. Second is a business where it involves recurring revenue, so that you don't have to rely on constant advertising to acquire a customer or constant investment in being able to acquire a new customer. However, the arrangement of recurring revenue allows for you to continue servicing the customer as opposed to focusing on trying to resell the customer. And thirdly, a business where there's lots of momentum, so there's lots of resources, lots of traction that you can literally ride the wave, add your own few ideas on top, and be able to 10x a company's bottom line, a company's level of leadership, whatever resources that you're going to ride on. But momentum is absolutely crucial and is one of the few pillars that I rarely hear any entrepreneurs talk about. Let's take a step back, and let's welcome the death of conventional wisdom. So the conventional wisdom is, let's go ahead and sell to local businesses. Your local mum and pop store who are making less than 5 million, or let's say even less than 1 or 2 million a year. They're easy to talk to because the moment you walk into the store, you can find out who exactly is the main decision maker. But from my personal experience, especially after selling a digital marketing agency for 7 figures with 40 staff who only cater towards local businesses, there's a better way. And here's why. Majority of local businesses, they generally want results yesterday, and I can feel this within a lot of your hearts who are listening to this presentation who have encompassed this, is that you have the local business owner who'll say, yeah, that's fine, I'm happy to wait 3, 6, 12 months until we get results. And next thing you know, within the next week, 2 weeks, they start freaking out and saying, oh my God, how come I'm not on page 1 of Google? Oh my God, how come I haven't got an extra 10,000 customers through my last Facebook post? Oh my God, insert blank. Essentially, all that does is add a whole bunch of stress and strain to your level of livelihood, and it starts to question whether you even wanted to get into this business in the first place. And isn't that the reason why we got into this business? So that we can actually enjoy ourselves. They also feel the pain of every dollar they decide to invest. So, it's coming out of their pocket, it's coming out of the children's education, it's coming out of their next holiday. So that's exactly why they're going to be pretty much on your case 24/7. Next, they often stop after 2 to 3 months if they haven't seen these crazy results, as I mentioned. Anyone who's in the real world of business, you know that 2-3 months you can provide results, but if you want to provide remarkable results, it requires a longer duration. It may take 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, but every single month that's extended, it compounds upon the previous month of results. They also want daily, bi-daily, tri-daily updates, like insert the blank here. I remember about four years ago, to be exact, I had a particular local business client who contacted me up to about 14 emails and 3 phone calls a day, just because they were freaking out about the Google search listings. You don't want that. I don't want that anymore. It's an absolute headache. You're better off getting a job at your local pizza shop or McDonald's. Not that there's anything wrong with McDonald's. I actually worked at McDonald's when I was 17, so I've got nothing against that. However, if you're in the business entrepreneurship, you're not in here to earn a minimum wage. You're in here to create maximum impact. So in other words, local businesses, they generally want for you to sell your soul as opposed to sell your products and services and make a dramatic impact. So then you end up feeling like this. So what's the other option? The other option is to be able to prospect to high growth, mid-market, large companies. So high growth generally, in my opinion, refers to 5 million plus, and most of them are listed on Inc. 5000. Mid-market is generally 10 million to 1 billion, and large companies are generally 1 billion plus, so your billion-dollar companies. And the reason why I love these three marketplaces and these three markets of buyers, because they understand the importance of long-term thinking. They are not like going ahead and checking their cash flow on a daily basis. If they are, generally it's just because they just want to make sure that they're scaling in the right direction. It's not because your Google service or your Facebook ad didn't perform. So they understand the importance of long-term thinking and really being in the game and crushing it for 10 years, 20 years, 100 years. And generally speaking, the direct decision maker doesn't necessarily feel the pain of investing with the allocated budget they have. They generally have to spend it, but to be able to bring in unique breakthrough ideas, and that's where your level of expertise comes in. They pay on time every time, as a reputation brand is too much at stake in order to be able to avoid not paying, especially if they don't pay, then they'll go ahead and essentially lose their job if that's the case. Their follow-up is quite flexible. So in other words, when you're dealing with these types of clients, they're not emailing you 10 times a day, calling you 7 times a day. They generally have a million other things to worry about. They just don't have the time for that. These level of companies, so high growth, mid-market, large companies, generally have huge resources to work with. So they've got this level of existing momentum whereby you can just provide a few tweaks and they can go from 60 to 100 miles an hour much faster than the average person who wants to go from standstill from 0 kilometers an hour to 60 kilometers an hour. And majority of these companies, well, essentially all of these companies have multiple departments, which leads to multiple opportunities to be able to perform what I call interest selling. So selling more within the organization to expand the deal size, so to speak, and I'll discuss more on this later in my deep selling strategy. So essentially, it'll get you feeling just like this guy. So the key lesson here is, and that I've learned from doing hundreds and hundreds of deals, all ranging from thousands of dollars to millions of dollars, and soon enough billions of dollars. And it takes the same amount of effort and energy to win a 1K deal as it does to win a $1 million deal. And I know what you're thinking, like, how on earth would it take the same amount of energy? Like, there's so many more resources. The buyer cycle is so much longer. Yeah, the buyer cycle may be a little bit longer if you don't really know what you're doing, but essentially, anyone who's told you that it's a million times harder to do a $1 million deal as opposed to do a $1,000 deal, you're probably hearing that from someone who's never done a $1 million deal in their life, and they're probably just BSing you right as we speak. What I've learned is it doesn't require for you to sell a million times harder. What it requires is that you deal with clients who think on a much higher level. They think long term. They embrace what we call 10x thinking. This level of exponential organizational excellence, which involves being able to think differently, not working harder, not leveraging more horsepower, but focusing on smart cuts instead of, just pretty much just straight out hustling. So the recipe I'm about to share with you is what I honestly would have told my 20-year-old self and what I would have focused more on back before I even sold my agency. However, it's never too late to be able to share this recipe and these strategic insights with others. And as a result, I created what we call the 7 steps strategic deal maker system. First step is you want to choose a niche or niche, depending upon which country you're located in. Second, you want to decide on a service offering. So, what exactly is that productized service you want to offer to these particular high growth, mid-market, large companies. So is it SEO, market research, lead generation, inbound marketing, etc. Don't be too worried now if you don't currently offer that service. There's a way around being able to offer this without doing the fulfillment, which essentially is the basis of this presentation. Don't stress about it. Just hold in there. I'll share with you very soon as to how we can work around it. Step 3 is to find trusted resource partners who have actually served your chosen niche. So you want to deal with resource partners who have actually done work for, let's say, the Inc. 5000 companies, the mid-market manufacturing companies, or the high-growth software companies. Because what we will do will essentially blow you away in terms of being able to prospect to this marketplace without you having to have any case studies at all. And speaking of case studies, this is actually related to step 4, which is partner with the trusted resource partners to leverage their portfolio, credibility, and team. So for instance, let's say if you want to do work with Pepsi, most people go ahead and go out there and go, okay, well, I've got no level case studies. I've never worked with a company the size of Pepsi. I'll just go ahead and cold call Pepsi right now, which isn't really the smartest way to do things. You could possibly reach the right decision maker, but there's a smarter way to do it. And the smarter way is you look at which resource partners have actually done work for competitors of Pepsi, let's say Coca-Cola, Red Bull, etc. You go partner up with these trusted resource partners and you leverage their portfolio credibility, and you go ahead and go prospect and pitch to Pepsi saying that you've done work with Coke, Red Bull, 7-Up, whatever you, and there you go, you've cut 20 years off of hard work, credibility within a space of, one email or phone call. Step 5 is to perform predictable prospecting. So don't worry, don't be scared. This isn't about cold calling anything. This is all about doing smart prospecting strategies. Step 6 is to win the deal or deals and outsource the work to your trusted resource partners. And step 7 is to keep both your resource partners happy and your clients happy, because if either are unhappy, you're going to go ahead and deal with a lot of frustrations, which is the last thing you want to do on your plate. Even though the frustrations will be a lot more fun than doing local businesses, there's a way to keep all parties involved happy. Pre-step is to join Sales Navigator. I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, I've got all these tools in my plate. Why do I have to go ahead and sign up for another thing? Don't worry. LinkedIn Sales Navigator offers a 30-day trial. If you haven't used it before, chances are, if you're not already paying for this, you probably haven't used the free trial. So go ahead, just click the URL on this slide, and then you can go ahead and get a free trial. Step 1, so choose a niche. So I get this a lot from a lot of entrepreneurs. They're always like spending hours, days, months, sometimes even years deciding on what niche they want to target. And really it's asking a series of questions and really thinking from a higher level to decide what niche you really want to serve. First question is to ask yourself, which niche do I care most about helping in order to solve a painful problem which will empower me to provide the fastest and best results possible? Because essentially they're the type of niche that will pay you the most, that will invest the most in your products and services, and they're generally a joy to work with. Question 2, who is already investing money in my services or an alternative solution to solve the problem in question 1? And thirdly, do any of my current clients or members of my current network appeal to 1 or 2? And just delve into your current testimonials, because your current testimonials will tell you exactly who your ideal or best buyers are and who are a joy to work with. So first, you want to create, find, or purchase an existing list of your Dream 100 clients. So for example, Info USA, Hoovers, Zoom Info, these are my most trusted recommendations that I would suggest for you to use. Just a note on Info USA, it's a hit and miss. Sometimes have great data, sometimes the data is a little bit, not so great. Just make sure that for any of these services, if you ever get like horrible leads that are completely wrong, just go back to your particular account manager, let them know, and they'll generally reimburse you with additional credit. Second, you can Google your niche list or niche association. So for instance, you can go ahead and Google, like, let's say manufacturing lists or manufacturing associations, and reach out to those particular associations to see who are members of those particular associations. And there you go. You've got a list that's already created for you. You can also go to American Society of Association Executives to find out like all the associations within a niche. So for instance, there may be 50, 60 mid-market manufacturing associations that are actually certified. American Society of Association Executives, well, of course, within America, will generally have that particular list already compiled for you, so you don't have to spend hours Googling and Google dancing around. Third is LinkedIn Advanced Search, which we'll delve into an example in the next slide, and that requires for you to have LinkedIn Premium or LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Fourthly is data.world. This is my secret weapon. So pretty much it's an open source community of data miners and data entry providers who go ahead and actually take time out of their schedule to be able to compile awesome lead source lists just so that they can help others and to pretty much get more karma points, so to speak. And fifth, my favorites, Inc. 5000, Fortune 1000, Global 2000 lists. A lot of these are already out there on the web. However, of course, you have to go ahead and delve into who the decision makers are, the emails, the direct lines, etc., which is what we'll delve into in the next few slides or so. So let's delve into LinkedIn Sales Navigator Advanced Search as an example for finding our dream 100 plus accounts. So as you can see to the top right hand side you can see a button or a word that you can click that says advanced, so click on that. Then a box will come up that says search for leads, search for accounts. Click on search for accounts. Next, you'll see a screen like this. Don't worry, don't stress out. Here are the exact sections that I want for you to focus on. When you click on industry, you'll see a list of potential industries that you can target that are relevant for our Dream 100 Plus. So go through, see which niches are actually congruent with the questions that you just asked on the previous slide regarding, which niche you should focus. And once you decide on a particular niche, then here's a power tip for you. Target a niche of clients who have great potential to become strategic partners. There was one big lesson that I was told by my mentor who always said, see customers or clients as a channel, not as the end goal. So what we mean by that is, when you take on a buyer, stop looking at it from a transaction point of view where you just go ahead, meet them, sell them something, and that's it, goodbye. See them as a channel. So a channel of reference, warm referrals to other potential clients who have connections with other great vendors, other great strategic clients who could also make for great clients on your side as well. So essentially target a niche of clients who have great potential to become strategic partners, strategic alliances, because this tip alone will 10x your business without working 10x harder. Secondly, we want to choose a service offering. So if you currently have a service offering, you can possibly stick to that, but of course at the end of the day it depends upon the buyer you target. If you're unsure about the service offering, not to worry, here's how we're going to work around that. But first, we need to go ahead and really master your pitch. So many times I've gone to networking events, business networking events, or just spoken to entrepreneurs in general, and you guys and girls do not have your pitch down. Like, I've asked people so many times, what do you do? And it's taken them 3 minutes, honestly, 3 minutes, which feels like a lifetime when you're at a networking event. 3 minutes just to tell me what on earth you do, who you do it for, and why you do it. Here's a simple, I guess, cut and paste, templatable sort of pitch line statement that you can borrow from me. And that is, we help niche achieve X outcome in Y time without Z biggest fear of pain. So we help enterprise software companies win big accounts in 90 days or less without hindering their current revenue run rate. Or we help mid-market manufacturing companies win big accounts in 90 days or less without having to raise capital. You can play around with this. Of course, there's no perfect pitch. The only way to find out what your perfect pitch is when you attract your perfect client. So the power tip for understanding what real service that you want to sell is to go to a high-end site such as clutch.co. And the reason why I call it a high-end site is because I want you to imagine a different version of Upwork, Freelance, all these types of outsourcing places where each of the vendors who are on there are really pre-screened, all the references are checked, and it's a reviews-based system. So it's an incredible resource. Feel free to check it out after this presentation. But essentially, once you're on the website, you want to click on Services and Solutions. And then you'll see a whole bunch of potential opportunities or potential service offerings that you yourself could possibly offer within advertising, marketing, search engine optimization, app development, web and software development, web design, etc. So a lot of these services can be offered where you go ahead and white label, or should I say, mark up these services and offer it to these high-paying clients. Step 3 is to find these trusted resource partners. So where on earth do we find these trusted resource partners? Well, firstly, you can go on Upwork, look around for the top talent who offer the particular service offering you have, and then you provide a markup to it. There's also freelancer.com, which is a bit more tournament based, but you can definitely get a lot of top talent on there. We've got 99designs.com, which is another tournament-based platform. By tournament-based, of course, I mean that people bid and they'll show you samples before you go ahead and commit any money, and then you come up with a final iteration. Then we've got TopTal. So TopTal really is a phenomenal service for finding like some of the best talent in the world who currently work for companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and they just pretty much just want some sort of side hustle, side gig to be able to just monetize their time. Kaggle.com. So this is really for the exponential organization or data mining geeks like myself. Kaggle.com is brilliant for doing a lot of data mining work. So when you have big clients who are struggling to create algorithms for certain things inside or want some sort of prediction algorithm or mechanism, Kaggle.com is a brilliant place to find top talent, of course, which is also a great place to find trusted resource providers. And of course, as I mentioned, Clutch.co, which is one of my favorites to be able to find top talent as well. Third power tip is to find a resource partner who has close to a 5-star reputation in serving your chosen niche, as this mitigates risk for all parties involved. So the problem I see with a lot of entrepreneurs who are trying to leverage this business model is that they'll go out and find someone who's really cheap with no reviews because they think, oh, well, you know, this person hasn't got any reviews, so I'd love to give them a try because I want to help them out. It's a big mistake. Just don't do it, honestly. Maybe later on, if you have, you know, a few $1,000s, you want to throw it out in the drain, which I hope you never have a few $1,000s which you're willing to throw it out in the drain, because as an entrepreneur, you want to be as resourceful as possible. However, I see a lot of entrepreneurs see, okay, well, this person's cheaper by an extra $1, $2 an hour. They may not have as many case studies, whatever, but I want to choose them so I have higher profit margins. It's just a bad idea. Just follow this tip, which is find a resource partner who has as much of a 5-star reputation, and you will mitigate risk for your own reputation, your client's reputation, and also the vendor's reputation. Because at the end of the day, you know, what takes a lifetime to build and only seconds to destroy is your reputation. Quoted by Warren Buffett, of course. Step 4 is to partner with these trusted resource partners. So you may be wondering, how on earth do I reach out to these trusted resource partners? What do I say? I don't possibly just reach out and say, hey, I want to use the services. There must be a way to actually communicate. And this is the way. So you find their contact details through the online platforms you use. So whether it's Clutch.co, Upwork, TopTal, whatever you can generally message them directly on the platform to ensure that you have a much better deliverability rate so that your message actually gets through to their inbox. However, if you do cold email them, like, you know, many of you who are listening to this most probably know how to get details and data of someone to be able to get their real email to cold email them. So if you do cold email them, make sure the subject line has the actual name, ? This is the most personalized subject line ever. Everyone tries to come up with all these fancy subject lines like, you know, hey, I've got pictures of your mum, or hey, I've got pictures of your dad. Like, come on, like, just because someone's going to click through doesn't mean it's actually relevant. So just make sure you have their name, ? That's a brilliant subject line to go ahead and really start off with. And then name, I noticed that you've done some amazing work for Company 1 and Company 2, which of course those companies would be in the high growth, mid-market or large companies category. This triggers me to ask, do you currently offer a white labeled / resource partner solution for a service offering? So for market research offering, I'm happy to refer more business your way if you're open to it. So here's the sample template. John, I noticed that you've done some amazing work for Coca-Cola and Red Bull. This triggers me to ask, do you currently offer a white labeled resource partner solution for your market research packages? Happy to refer more business your way if you're open to it. So here's the 4th power tip. So have a quick 10 minutes call to decide if there's a potential fit. So I know what you're thinking, oh, I don't like to get on the phone. Why can't I just do it through message? You can possibly do it through email or messenger, but the truth of the matter is there's nothing that can replace being able to put a voice to someone's name and being able to really hear in their tonality how serious they are will go ahead and shortcut a lot of your headache. You also always want to mention that you're looking to create a long-term relationship. So I know what you may read in a lot of other sales collateral where they say, oh, you know, you have to go ahead and add scarcity. You have to say like, oh, I want to go ahead and trial your services for 30 days to see how good you are. Like, come on, at the end of the day, we're all here to crush in business. There's no need to be arrogant or be egotistic about things. Just let them know that you're willing to create a long-term relationship, because that's why you're in business, is to create, you know, long-term success for all parties involved. And you want to ensure you get everything in writing, but you want to work within their sort of terms and existing arrangement. So I know what you're thinking. You may want to go ahead and, like, you know, get them to work on your terms. That's fine once you have a whole bunch of systems set up, but just to make things easier, to reduce the level of friction with working with these trusted resource partners who already have an incredible portfolio, case studies, and what have you, is that you want everything in writing on their traditional arrangement. So if they say, hey, look, this is what we want to charge, and then you can just add your premium on top, okay, great. Or if they say, we'll do everything, we'll manage the client, we'll do this, but this is what we charge, okay, great. But I can't tell you what those, perfect arrangements or perfect terms and conditions are until you pick up the phone, have that 10 minutes call, and speak to your trusted resource partner. Step 5 is the predictable prospecting system, which we'll be using to approach our Dream 100 clients. So assuming that you've already got a list of Dream 100 plus clients, you've put down the name of the decision makers, you found out the email addresses, their direct lines, etc. This is what you essentially want to go ahead and do. So don't worry if you don't know, like a lot of those pieces, I'll delve into in the future slide into how to get those particular data points. But for now, let's just delve into the whole entire predictable prospecting system for being able to win these Dream 100 plus clients. So stage 1, we want to go ahead and send a breakthrough email. Stage 2 is to send an overview or one-pager, PDF, slide deck, what have you. Stage 3 is to book a 6 to 10 minutes discovery call to see what pain points and what type of solutions they're actually looking for. Stage 4 is the 18 to 25 minutes. I guess you can call it one call close, really it's a 2 call close. And then send the terms of engagement, not proposal. I'm a big negative Nancy when it comes to proposals. I don't believe in proposals, and in the future slides I'll share with you why. Stage 6 is you want to collect the payment through the right medium to avoid too much fees, get paid before you actually do the work. And then to onboard the new client in the most seamless way possible is stage 7. So the foundation of prospecting is, as I mentioned, to create a Dream 100 plus clients list. So example, let's say you want to approach the pharmaceutical companies within the United States who have between 51 to 200 employees. You want to use software to find their direct lines, social media, email, contacts, etc. So there are multiple softwares you can use. There's Seamless.ai, there's emailhunter.io, there's a whole bunch of other platforms. But essentially, you want to be able to track and measure all your progress with regards to prospecting within a Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel. The reason why I say these platforms, and it might sound like I'm a little bit ancient by using these spreadsheets, is that it's just a lot easier to manage in the beginning. Later on, if you want to be fancy and use Pipedrive, Salesforce, whatever, you can do that. But for now, let's just keep things as simple and effective as possible. Going back to LinkedIn, specifically using LinkedIn Navigator Advanced Search, what you can do is you go to the geographical region, and let's say I'm targeting United States, just as listed right here. And the industry is pharmaceuticals. Company headcount, which is number of employees within the organization, so 51 to 200, and that actually brings up 1,153 results. But here's the downfall here, is that LinkedIn will only display 1,000 results maximum to, obvious reasons to prevent you from spamming. So there's a way around that. And the way around that is you want to be much more specific. So instead of just going for all pharmaceutical companies, let's go ahead and just dig a little deeper and go for pharmaceutical manufacturers within the keyword search. So in the keywords, I'll do what's called a Boolean search. So double quotation marks manufacturer or double quotation marks manufacturing, and that narrows our search down to 185 results, which I know what you're thinking, like, oh my god, we went from 1100 plus to 185. That means that our list is so much smaller. What if we don't go ahead and win the accounts? Just relax for a moment. We're just focusing on being laser focused for the first 185, and it's pretty reasonable to be able to get a 3% conversion rate out of this particular 185. So it's possible to get 5 or 6 clients out of just one prospecting campaign if you do what's right. And what's right will be, of course, discussed within this presentation. Once you go ahead and have that all sorted, you want to click on search. And when you click search, it will go ahead and display the 185 results. And here's what you're left with. The screen should look like this: 185 total result. Yeah, there's 11 with senior leadership changes last 3 months. Don't worry too much about that. Worry more about the fact that we've now got a list of 185 dream companies who fit our criteria. So here's an 80-20 hack, is that you want to use a tool like DuckSoup, LinkTelper, or MeetLeonard.com to extract the entire list of accounts. You may be wondering, look, I've heard so many bad things about using LinkedIn automation tools. I've seen all these blog posts. And yes, they're horrible if you use it to spam. They're horrible if you use it to scrape 1,000, 5 million accounts or whatever and just start abusing the platform. You want to be smart with it. You want to make yourself look human. Going ahead and looking at 185 companies is quite human. But if you're going to look at 5 million companies within a day, I'm pretty sure you don't have 62 hands, so there's no way to be able to do that. So just leverage these tools. Don't abuse them. Because not only will it make your life miserable, but you'll make other people's life miserable who are also, fairly using the tools. And then you follow on to use email tools such as emailhunter.io, anymailfinder.com, seamless.ai. These tools are on a subscription basis, but they're absolutely phenomenal for finding out the right decision maker and the right decision maker's contact email. Once you've done that, congratulations, you now have created a hyper-targeted list of your dream accounts. And like I said, Google Sheets is honestly your best friend. You want to track, put a column of all the company names, list of websites, who's that first or main decision maker, what's their position, contact email, LinkedIn URL, etc. And now that I've got you laser focused, we can move on to the next step. And the most important first step, which is sending the breakthrough email. So again, this breakthrough email sent to the main decision makers of a particular Dream 100 account that you're trying to go ahead and get your foot in the door. So subject, name, question mark, and this is the body. So name, noticing, research, extract, or strategic insight. This triggers me to ask, how are you ensuring company name is achieving a particular goal they're challenged with achieving but are likely not acting enough on or well enough on. Got an idea for you, maybe a fit, but competitor name is using a simple but effective tactic to quantifiably achieve a particular goal or something dangerous they're avoiding/reducing. If I send through an overview, are you open to spending 3 minutes with it to see how competitor name is achieving this name? So here's an example. So let's say, for instance, we've already gone ahead and secured or solidified an arrangement with a trusted resource partner who's currently done work or is currently doing work for Coca-Cola and Red Bull. Then this is a type of template that would make sense to send through. So subject, John, question mark. Body, John, noticing you've expanded your premises to New York City and Austin. By the way, congratulations on pioneering your global diversity and engagement program. This triggers me to ask, how are you ensuring Pepsi is not undercapitalized? Question mark. Got an idea for you, maybe a fit, but Coca-Cola is using a simple but effective tactic to raise expansion capital without using existing inventory as collateral. If I send through an overview, are you open to spending 3 minutes with it to see how Coca-Cola is achieving this? So don't go ahead and feel as if this is a cookie cutter template that this is exactly what you're going to send through. Obviously, it's talking from a high-level strategy perspective with these big accounts. So your product or service may or may not be a lot more different than what's being offered within this breakthrough email. But hopefully you see that I'm providing value within the email, intrigue, curiosity, but I'm not trying to talk about how great I am. I'm talking about how great this particular client can possibly be with this new addition of a particular breakthrough idea or resource that I'm open to sending through. So common responses you'll get are, yes, tell me more, sure, send it through. If you don't get a response, of course you want to send the email. Again, you want to follow up, change the subject title. Honestly, I could create a whole webinar just on follow-up strategies alone, so I won't include that in today's presentation, but if I get enough comments below, yeah, I'll definitely consider it. But if they respond back and just say no, don't take it to heart, just move on next prospect and just make sure you also have a relentless follow-up strategy in place. Stage 2 is to send the slide deck or overview. So generally speaking, you can send a pitch deck or slide deck in the form of a PDF, or it could be uploaded to slideshare.com, or you can send through a one-pager, one-page pitch, so to speak. that will go ahead and really outline some level breakthrough idea or system, strategy, strategic insight that will really arouse the curiosity and have them thinking like, man, I need to get this guy or gal on the phone because they've got what we've been looking for, or they're the person we've been looking for all along. So a lot of the slide deck, one pager, slide share, pitch deck, marketing collateral can be obtained from your trusted resource partner. They'll definitely do probably 80% of that. But here's where the other 20% falls short, that a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of other B2B marketers, B2B salespeople do not include. And that is spoken about here. So here's what to include in your slide deck or overview. The first thing is, what's your big idea? So you want that in a one-line benefit statement. You don't want to talk about the features of your product or service, why it's so great. Like saying, I want to get you on page 1 of Google means nothing versus I can get you your first 100 clients for free. Going ahead and saying, we'll manage your social media is nothing compared to, we'll protect your reputation, or we'll protect the story that your customers are watching. Something else that's much more benefit driven. Second, what's changing? So you want to talk about 3 market forces so that you tackle the left, mid, and right side of the brain. So economic forces that are changing up landscape, social forces, and technological changes and forces. Third, problem. So what significant problem is nobody solving? Generic solutions, existing alternatives, status quo. What are other vendors doing in the industry that are really just the wrong way of doing things, and how are you pretty much positioning yourself to be able to do it right? Fifth is your solution. Within the solution, like if you're sending through a PDF, a digital document, so to speak, you can most probably just embed a screen share video within that where you go over your particular product or service. That's one way to also go ahead and add value before they even pay you anything. 6 is mentioning your value proposition. So value proposition should always be company specific. If you talk about how great you are, nobody cares. If you talk about how great you can help a company become, you've already differentiated yourself just by having the courage to do that. 7, include the economics. And what I mean is, what's the potential for gain once they go ahead and embark on a professional arrangement with you? What are they willing to be able to win once they partner up with you? But what's the potential for loss should they proceed to not move forward? It's good to mention both sides so that they understand what they can win and what's the opportunity cost of not moving forward. 8 is mentioning social proof. So the existing case studies, testimonials, preferably from your trusted resource partners. Media mentions to also go ahead and leverage as much trust as possible. So I'm sure your eyes lighting up, understanding that you don't have to come up with a lot of this social proof from scratch. You can leverage it from your trusted resource partners to ensure that you can really cut the learning curve. 9 is pricing. So you want to mention some level of exclusivity on your product or service. And I know I mentioned that scarcity isn't really that important, it's not necessary. It's important if you use it in a smart way that's not based on pushing people. So it should be pulling people towards wanting to pursue your product or service or what you have to offer. So exclusivity on a first come first basis. So such as, we've got an exclusive arrangement where you will be the only cola company we work with within Germany, or the only energy drink company we'll go ahead and work within Australia. That's an exclusive arrangement that pulls them because they know that you'll be giving them VIP treatment. So don't give a push method where if you don't go ahead and get back to me within the next 10 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and ... Don't do any push strategies. This whole predictable prospecting strategy is based on pull. 10 is call to action. So your main call to action, and yes, you need a call to action because I've seen so many pitch decks, slide decks, one pages, you name it, with no call to action. They just have like a logo of the company, and they think just by having a logo of the company, it's going to get them a phone call booked. Unless you ask for the phone call, and unless you invite this particular Dream 100 client to a phone call, you're not going to get one. So the whole purpose of the call to action is to invite them to book a 6 to 10 minutes discovery call, not a 45-60 minutes, because you're dealing with high-end executives here. They don't have the time to give 45 minutes or an hour to you. So you just want a quick 6 to 10 minutes call to go ahead and diagnose before you prescribe a solution. So stage 2 is to send the overview. So you may be wondering, okay, so once I've got the overview from my trusted resource partner. We've come up with some awesome marketing collateral that can really show this company what they're missing out on and what we can bring to the table. Then you want to follow up through your previous email. So you want to follow up, and in the body copy you want to say, great to hear from you, John. Here's the link to the overview, of which that overview should be uploaded to your domain / name of the company, because you will guarantee pretty much 100% click-through rate when they see a custom URL with their company brand in it. Don't worry, you're not going to get sued, only if you try to buy the company's domain, like let's say, like Pepsi.com. So they'll be ruining trademarks. Don't do that. What I'm talking about is just creating what I call a vanity URL, a custom URL, and putting that on your domain and server. And then you want to say, if you agree that it is worth talking about and the fit may be there, let's have a follow-up call. Do mornings or afternoons work best for you? So in the first email, we asked for them to say yes or tell me more to send through the overview. Now it's just about getting them clear on putting aside a portion of their schedule, mornings or afternoons. If you go straight into saying, can you do Monday 3 p.m. or Tuesday 6 p.m. or here's a link to my calendar, those types of approaches do work. I've found that just taking a step back and asking mornings or afternoons first will go ahead and just increase booking rate much more. Then stage 3, of course, is to be able to book the 6 to 10 minutes call. So make sure this is booked within your Google Calendar or iCal and or within the Outlook, because last thing you want are no-shows. Having no-shows, I've been through it all. It's just frustrating. You get really excited, you set aside 6 to 10 minutes and the client doesn't show up. And also, if they don't show up because they're too busy or lost track, that means you're not prioritization. So you just want to make sure that we avoid that headache to begin with, and just make sure you're leveraging these calendar tools to be able to have this discovery call lined up. So what on earth do we say on the discovery call? Here's what to say. So firstly, the first stage of the call, the first segment of the call, is you always want to set the frame. So you want to make sure that you control the conversation, not from a power tripper, dominating perspective, but from a way where it shows you're being directive and you're respecting both of your time. So you start off by saying, hi name, I'm extremely excited that we both could set aside 6 to 10 minutes to talk today about how we can best help company, as in the company you're approaching, achieve goal related to the original breakthrough email and or overview, and whether we are a good fit in moving forward and making it happen. Firstly, where are you least clear in being able to achieve goal related to original breakthrough email and overview? Second, thanks for sharing name. Our best clients have also experienced common industry frustrations, so you're not alone. Moreover, what other options have you tried in order to achieve the goal related to original breakthrough email and overview? Seeing as options 1, 2, and 3 didn't produce favorable results, and if I were to wave a magic wand, what would that perfect solution look like? Listen, and listen, right? So too many sort of entrepreneurs or people in sales I've seen is that they really want to rush the conversation because they get too nervous, or they think that by them talking more is controlling the conversation. You are much more empowering when you're able to redefine the client's problem in a way they previously did not know, that instantly builds rapport in a way that no one else is able to do. Fourth, you would say, I just had a light bulb moment, or I just had an aha moment as you mentioned the perfect solution. Would you be open to delving deeper on another call? And those 9 times out of 10, yeah, sure, let's go ahead and do it. If they've already committed 6 to 10 minutes call, they're most probably committed to going ahead and delving deeper into what you have to say. And you'll say, great, how about next week, same time? The reason why I say next week, same time, you could come up with a sooner call, 2 days, 4 days, whatever, because it just allows for them to not have to think, and they've already committed to your current time slot. So next week, same time, most of the time, it'll be free. And then fantastic, looking forward to connecting then, and I wish you a remarkable day ahead. Stage 4 is that once we've gone ahead and decided on, next week, same time, again, have that booked into the calendar, into Google Calendar, iCal, whichever tool you want to use. And this is your very important sales call where you really want to dive deep into the solution, into the pain points, into whether you both would make a great fit in order to move forward and to make it happen. So here's how we would set the frame for this particular conversation. So we'd say, hi name, I'm extremely excited that we both could set aside 18 minutes to talk today about the future of company and whether we are a good fit moving forward towards a yes. Here's what I know today. And recite a summary of recent email, phone call interactions in terms of what you really learned. So this automatically builds up rapport again, like instant rapport, not the type of rapport where it's like, oh, I know how you feel. You went back to college here. I'm not talking about that rapport. I'm talking about rapport based on problems and challenges that your particular high-end executive is having right now as we speak within the organization, and how you can go ahead and really relay it back to them in a way they never thought about it. Then you would proceed to say, do you still feel the same about that? So you ask this question so that both parties involved on the phone can go ahead and be on the same page, as opposed to moving, from a different direction. And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, yeah, I definitely still feel the same way about that. The 1 out of 10 would just say, well, actually, we had a change of mind. We just had ... Okay, if they say that, then you would just respond back and say, okay, great, tell me more. And then relay it back to them. Then here's the initial section of the strategic discovery, where you would start by saying, if we were to have this conversation 12 months time, what would have to happen in order for you to be happy with our results? Second, what one obstacle has prevented you from achieving this? So you're trying to find what's really getting in the way of them achieving their desired result. Third, how long have you operated with this not working for you? If you didn't make a change within the next 6 months, how would that impact company name across all departments? 5, is it possible for you to change this on your own? 6, tell me in 1 minute or less exactly how you're going to turn company around. And literally listen for this 1 minute or less. Don't go ahead and let them talk like 3, 4, 5 words and then just butt in. That's just downright rude. Just listen to what they have to say, because through whatever pain points they're willing to share and be vulnerable, there are a lot of golden insights that you will not get from hiding behind a computer. 7, what are you willing to do to make it happen? 8, so how soon are you looking to achieve desired result? If they say right now, that means obviously you got a higher chance of closing and being able to make it happen. B, if it's other, like they say, oh well, yeah, we're looking to get this done next 12 months. Then you will respond back with, what has excited you to delay our success to get you the results you want? Because obviously if they're talking to you right now, it's on their radar. It's on their mind, it's on their plate, it's on their to-do list. They wouldn't be talking to you unless it was just not of potential interest. So it's definitely within the next quarter, so to speak. 9, here's how I can best help you. So lay out your game plan. So lay out, what the problem is, what everyone else is doing, what's the solution, how can your team go ahead and help them alleviate their pain, what's involved, what needs to happen. And then proceed to say, I'd love to charge you 1 million. However, the investment is only 25k per month. Look, you can say 50k per month, 100k per month, whatever you're looking to charge. With a setup fee, always mention a setup fee, because setup fee will cover your cost per acquisition, of course. So you would say, however, the investment is only 25k per month with a 10k setup fee. However, I'm happy to waiver the setup fee if you're open to getting started within the next 48 hours. And then just pause, let it sink in for them. Don't go ahead and try to be too pushy. This level of silence may feel uncomfortable at first, but it's extremely important, because it allows the person you're talking to have that information just sink in, and then say, does this or does that sound fair? Most of the time they'll say yes, or they'll say, well, it depends, blah, blah, blah. And then you would ask, okay, well, how would you like to proceed? So a lot of the times when you ask, how would you like to proceed? You may get 3 out of 10 who just say, yep, let's do this. We've been waiting for an expert like yourself. It's taken us, we've lost millions of dollars trying to find someone, but, there's just something about you that's different, ... Whatever it is, so we do the best we can to go ahead and say, okay, great. The next best step is that I'll send through terms of engagement in terms of what's involved. You'll then sort out the first installment or the first payment, and we'll take it from there. Sound good? And then they'll say, yep, sounds great. So stage 5 is send through terms of engagement. So you'll realize I didn't say send through proposal. After my many years of entrepreneurship, more than 10 years of entrepreneurship, there's one thing I've learned. proposal selling is something that's really from the 80s era of doing consulting. And what I mean is, it was always based on the fact that you had to outline all the features or what's involved, because they wanted upper management to always go back to it if it wasn't being fulfilled. Okay, fair enough for the 80s, 90s era consulting, whatever. Nowadays, it's more about like doing stuff based on results. And results, you know, at the end of the day, there's only one result that you can really agree on, is what you initially pitched them on. But in terms of, you know, the steps required to get there, the features, etc., that's constantly changing. So sending through a proposal is just not necessary in today's age, today's era, so to speak. So send through terms of engagement that lists out terms and conditions, the guarantees, you know, what's the result that you both agreed on. And like, by result, I mean, you know, what's the sole outcome that everybody who's involved will be on the same page for. Once you decide on sending through terms of engagement, you want to use a tool like PandaDoc or DocuSign to get the particular decision maker to sign it. Look, you could go ahead and FedEx a particular document through, or you could drop by the office. It's just not necessary. It's the 21st century. Let's leverage online tools as much as possible so that you can save everyone's time involved. Stage 6 is you want to collect payment. There's multitude of payment providers you could use. You know, you could use Stripe, which is a common one. Stripe is also attached to FreshBooks if you want to use FreshBook. There's ChargeBee, where you can charge people's credit cards on the spot, which is cool. And then you've got, you know, usual PayPal people are familiar with. Just understand one thing though, is that when you do collect payments, if you're billing a credit card, you do have to eat a lot of the fees, which are between 2.5 to 2.9%, sometimes 3.9%. And it may not sound like much, but if you're selling something for 50,000, it starts to really add up. So the other option is you could possibly send through a FreshBooks invoice and just ask for them to wire the money, wire the payment to your bank account, and you can take it from there. Stage 7 is the new client onboarding. Every time you manage clients, like just only using email to manage clients is absolutely difficult, because as you can imagine, if you're getting 10, 30, 50, 100 emails a day and you're trying to manage clients in between, it's extremely hard to streamline things. So what you need is either Asana or Basecamp as a project management tool to be able to streamline all your project, have certain initiatives, milestones, projects all laid out in the right order. So here's a power tip, is where necessary, you want to involve your resource partners, and you always want to leverage their experience, strategic insights, and closing approach. Like, just really, like, where possible, just make them your best friends. So make your trusted resource partner your best friend, because one thing I see a lot of marketing consultants and agencies do is they don't really treat their resource partners too nice. They sort of look down to them in a way, and I just think that's just extremely egotistic, because if they're doing work for your clients, you need to make sure they're happy and you're treating them with utmost respect. So treat them nice, leverage their experience in terms of how they're able to market and get clients, you know, their insights on the industry and how they generally close clients. You can learn a heck of a ton just by being humble in this aspect. Step 6 is you want to win the deals and outsource the work. So you don't want to do any of the fulfillment. The only fulfillment you do is just making sure your client's happy. Next is you want to connect back with your resource partners to create the scope of work. So get very clear with your resource partner. You know, talk to their account manager in terms of what needs to be executed in order to make sure all parties involved are happy. You want to manage expectations, which is a very underrated skill. Managing expectations is so important in service-based businesses that a lot of people, a lot of people just overlook it, and I'm not sure why to this day. But when you manage the expectations of a client, then you manage communication. Because if you promise them the world and you deliver 5% of what you gave them, they're going to be absolutely frustrated and they will lose their minds. So you want to set clear and distinct goals with appropriate timelines. When speaking with your resource partner, you want to say, okay, here's what will be possibly achieved by, you know, January, by February, by March, at the end of the quarter, here's a summary, etc. So just make sure you can be as clear as possible. So just look real holistic on the big main goal and then truncate it down to a series of micro goals. So just being able to do overall project management is just testing, tracking, and measuring just on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. And here's a power tip, is that you always want to ensure there's one point of contact for each side. And I'm sure you've been through this, is where you take on a particular client and next thing you know, you're talking to the CEO, you're talking to the CFO, you're talking to the VP of sales, you're talking to all these positions with the company, and it just feels as if you turn one client into 4 or 5 clients when really you should have billed for 5 clients. And the best way to avoid that is to go ahead and make sure you only have one point of communication, not 5, not 10, just one. And this helps you avoid communication overlaps both on the resource partner side and both on the client side. Step 7, with regards to resource partners and making sure they're happy, power tip for this is just to have one central dashboard that allows for you to track progress in real time on both sides. And by having a real-time dashboard, you don't have to continually message or email. Let's say you don't have to continually message and email your client or your resource partner to make sure that they're happy with everything going. You should be able to have some sort of dashboard. You know, it could be even Asana or Basecamp or some level of enterprise software that your particular partner or client's using, whereby you can just log in or they can log in and see exactly what's going on. As we discussed the 7-step strategic deal maker system, here's a summary. First step was choose a niche. Second, decide on service offering. Third, find trusted resource partners who have served your chosen niche. Again, high growth, mid-market, large companies of course. Fourth, partner with trusted resource partners to leverage their portfolio, credibility and team. 5, perform predictable prospecting. 6, win the deals and outsource the work to your trusted resource partners. 7, keep both resource partners and clients happy. So are you ready to become the next 100k per month case study? If so, click the link below or the link in the description and we'll take it from there. So now just imagine if you could predictably create a 100k per month business selling productized services without doing any of the fulfillment. How would that change your life? No, really, like how would that change your life in all areas, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whether it's financial? How would you feel? Would you finally feel as if you've got this massive bolt off your shoulders that you don't have to worry about bills piling up? You don't have to worry about medical bills getting in the way, about unforeseen circumstances that are crushing, your financial bottom line. Who would you finally be? Are there a bunch of passions and hobbies that you've delayed for the past, 2, 3, 5, 10 years? Or because you had to wait around thinking that you need to work harder, hustle harder in order to reach the income goals that you're worthy of? What would you do? Would you finally be able to set aside, date night with your spouse instead of like having a date night every, 6 months? Would you finally have that on a weekly basis or on a bi-weekly basis? Would you finally spend more time with the kids and engage with them because you're realizing that they're just getting too old too fast? Where would you go? Are there dream destinations you want to take your children to, or you want to take yourself? Have you always wanted to see the Eiffel Tower, which I've seen? Have you always wanted to go ahead and see, the pyramids? Like whatever it is, wherever you want to go, it's waiting for you there. It's just a matter of when. What would you have? Would you finally relocate from where you're currently living to an exotic destination, which of course has to have good internet, just so you can finally feel as if like you can relax from the city grind, from the busyness, and be able to actually live life to its fullest? Let's go ahead and crunch some numbers. And here's what's possible for you. So again, the goal, let's say our North Star is 100k per month. And let's say you're looking to charge 5k per month, which I believe honestly is a little bit too low when you're looking at these high growth, mid-market, large companies. However, it's a starting point. So let's say you charge 5k per month. Of course, not all of this be profit. You're probably looking at about 75% profit, 25% to your trusted white labeled reseller or resource partner, so to speak. So 5k per month, that'll take you 20 clients. Charge 10k per month, 10 clients. 25k per month, only 4 clients. And the thing is, you're not doing any of the fulfillment, so you're not having to spend 20 hours a week for every single client just to fulfill. At most, you'll probably spend about 1 hour per week per client, and that's really pushing it. I'd probably be looking at 30 minutes or even 15 minutes a week managing your client. And that leads you to be super cool. So what is it costing you right now to avoid selling to much more high growth, mid-market, large companies? So let's use as an example, let's say you're currently at 20k per month and the goal is to reach the North Star of 100k per month, and the difference in revenue is 100k per month minus 20k per month, which equals 80k per month. For every month you're not selling to big accounts, you're potentially losing 80k per month at minimum, which, isn't exactly a sobering thought. So if you're ready to become the next 100k per month case study, click the link below or the link in the description to see if you qualify. As promised, I was going to share with you the bonus case study of how I went from mental breakdown to orchestrating billion-dollar plus deals in the aviation/aerospace industry. You may be wondering, what on earth happened? How the hell did you go from having a mental breakdown to orchestrating billion-dollar plus deals in the aviation aerospace industry? Well, essentially, in the early stages of 2019, I had a whole lot of things happen. And if you're familiar with Murphy's Law, where when things can go wrong, they will go wrong, 2019, or at least the beginning of 2019, was Murphy's Law on steroids. In a nutshell, I lost some of the most important people in my life, most important family members, friends. I also, had a whole bunch of financial mishaps that happened as well. I had multiple payment providers like cancel my account or at least freeze my accounts. So look, if you're going through a tough time, I've been there. So if you've been screwed over by payment providers, or you've been in real stressful situations financially where you had to do things like sleep at an airport, or whether you had to stay in a cheap hotel just to make ends meet, I've been through all that. Don't worry, it's not easy, but tomorrow's another day. And there's one quote that I always remind myself when things get tough, which is always remember why you started. The question I'd like to ask for you listening today is, what is your big why? Is your big why to be able to set a legacy for your kids? Is your big why to make sure that if something was to happen to you, that your wife would be okay, or that your husband would be okay? You don't have to stress about that overnight. Is your big why to retire your parents? Whatever it is, always remember it when things get tough, because that is the one thing that will keep your head up when you feel like there's nothing honestly is working. And if you're going through a tough time, know this: tough times never last, but tough people do. So tough times never last, but tough people do. And here's exactly what I did in the right sequence to be able to go from having this mental breakdown to orchestrating billion-dollar plus deals in the aviation aerospace industry. So firstly, I decided on a niche that I've been passionate about since age 6, but only recently had the courage to go ahead and actually pursue, which is the aviation aerospace industry. Second, optimize my LinkedIn profile accordingly and leverage LinkedIn search optimization. Thirdly, join as many relevant LinkedIn groups as possible. You can actually join up to 100 and have less than or equal to 20 pending requests. It actually used to be half of that, but now LinkedIn is trying to push out groups a lot more. And then, once I was accepted into the groups, I would then follow up with the group owner and group managers. So the reason why I do this is, generally speaking, a lot of group owners and group managers on LinkedIn are super connectors, which means they're connected to a lot of people, a lot of important people in the industry. So this is a way to smart cut the process, so to speak. And soon enough, many aviation aerospace professionals noticed who I was connected with. They saw that I was connected with a lot of these super connectors, and they organically started inviting me to connect as well. However, I didn't want to rely on organic growth as much as these LinkedIn gurus tell you that that's the way to do. Send 10 connection requests a day. It's just too slow for me. I then connected with all the well-known thought leaders in the aviation aerospace industry, such as the top writers, the top speakers, keynote speakers, authors, journalists, association owners, etc. I went along and then searched through LinkedIn Sales Navigator for all the business owners. So in other words, the Dream 100 plus business owners of aviation aerospace companies in US, Europe, Asia, Australia, Canada. I essentially just went full throttle in terms of saying, okay, I want to put a foothold in this industry and get connected with some of the smartest people who are really leading the aviation aerospace industry. I then sent each of the aviation aerospace business owners a semi-personalized connection invite. And by semi-personalized connection invite, it would go along the lines of this, like, hi John, I noticed that we both have so-and-so in common, and I just read your recent LinkedIn article on X topic. Would love to connect further with you to discuss more breakthrough ideas or to exchange resources. Once I was accepted and connected with these particular business owners, I then followed up to add value through strategic questioning. So a strategic question, in my opinion, is one that creates massive engagement, such as what one challenge or opportunity are you most focused on right now, John? Happy to help. So come from a place of adding value. Don't go straight to these stupid pictures I've seen LinkedIn Messenger all day, every day, which is like, hi, my name is Steve. I'm the greatest marketing consultant in the world. Here's why you need me. I'm so great. Like, just stop doing that. Like, honestly, it is not 1990 anymore. Like, we are in the age where we're not interested in people who talk all about themselves. We're interested in people who are happy to help us. And then I initiated the predictable prospecting system, which was in step 5 of the 7 steps process, with a few minor tweaks. And you may be wondering, what was the response? Here's what happened. More than 800 said straight out, no, not interested. And then approximately 12 told me literally F off, which was hilarious, seeing that being written in LinkedIn Messenger. Of all platforms, I would expect that maybe Facebook or Twitter, but definitely not LinkedIn. And I was even told, what makes a Chinese person like you qualified to enter our industry? And just for the record, I'm not Chinese. I'm actually Australian born Vietnamese. There's nothing on my profile related to China, so that was just absolutely funny seeing that being written throughout LinkedIn Messenger. And roughly 198 of these prospects wanted to keep an open line of communication. Some actually sent referrals my way, which was absolutely cool. So, just because they say no now, it doesn't mean no forever. And despite all these intense responses, the average person, or maybe many people would have just given up on the spot and just said, screw this. I reached out to 1,000 people. I had people swear at me, tell me F off, whatever. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm relentless, because either we move forward or that's it. We don't have a choice. There's no other way. When you realize you put yourself in a must situation where you need to make it happen, or you die, or it doesn't work out, or your family's life is at stake, or your goals at stake, you do whatever it takes to make it happen. So what's the outcome? Here's the outcome. Outcome was one aircraft manufacturer responded back and said, Hung, you've got an impressive background. We'd love to have your high energy enthusiasm on board. Let's do this. And when they said, let's do this, they proposed a specific arrangement that I never thought was humanly possible with someone like me who just entered the industry 2 months prior to this. And the particular response was, I was able to get exclusivity on the ability to orchestrate 3.871 billion worth of commercial aircraft inventory. So as you can imagine, that's billion, that's not million, that's billion with a B. Like, my jaw dropped, because of course I'm not getting 100% of that as revenue. I'm getting anywhere between 1.5 to 3%, depending upon the aircraft. But as you can imagine, I don't have to own the aircraft, don't have to own the airline, don't have to own the aircraft licensing or leasing firms. I'm just a connector and deal maker to go ahead and make it happen. And here's exactly how I felt after I signed the papers and solidified the agreement. So are you ready to become the next 100K per month case study? If so, click the link below or the link in the description to go ahead and see if you qualify. You're still here. Awesome, because I've got some other gifts for you. And one more thing. You may be wondering, how on earth do we 10x this business model, Hung? So let's say we've already reached 100K per month, but we don't want to take on more clients. We're happy with having 4, 8, 10 clients, what have you. We just want to go ahead and just keep our existing clients at the moment and just extract more revenue, add more value, in other words, to be able to have clients for life. Let me share with you 4 breakthrough strategies that can help you do that. I also call this the Fabulous 4. First is deep selling. Second, equity performance arrangement. 3, strategic licensing. 4, finder's fees, where you become what I call a mergers and acquisition scout. So of course you don't have to be like Wolf of Wall Street investment banker and perform mergers and acquisitions. You just have to scout for potential mergers and acquisitions. So firstly, deep selling strategy. So once you've proved yourself to a big client, what you do is you keep a good close eye on who in the organization is benefiting the most from your product or service and your results. And then you contact the human resources director or whoever's the highest level human resources person to create a success showcase. So you tell them, hey, Miss or Mr. Human Resources, I've helped so-and-so be able to double their sales quota. Before, this is where they were. Now they're able to achieve this particular goal. They're loving their job. They actually told me that they never knew that they could be at a company like your company and be able to make such an impact. Are you open to creating a success showcase so that we can really share this in the company newsletter? 9 times out of 10, human resources like this is absolutely cool. Like, we need this. This is going to help us with company turnover or make us look great. It's great for press, ... Then you want to leverage that showcase to amplify recognition of that particular employee and use it as a Trojan horse to contact the senior decision makers. So even though you may have already previously contacted with the CEO, VP of marketing, whatever, the person who, said yes to your particular productized service arrangement, you're able to reconnect with those decision makers, show them showcase, get them excited, and you get a meeting. This time, they know you're serious, you have something great value, you've got the HR person on your side, you've got the employees who you've been able to provide remarkable results. So getting the meeting isn't challenging. And once you do get the meeting, you get it to further discuss rolling out your particular service that you originally sold to additional departments. So this is why I call it deep selling. And you also want to do this on a monthly basis. You don't want to do it on a weekly basis because it'll be a little bit too pushy and it's a bit too much for people's schedules, especially when you're dealing with these high-end executives. But you don't want to do it on a yearly or even quarterly basis because you're just leaving a lot of value on the table. Second 10x strategy is equity or performance arrangement. This is one of my favorites. So once you've proved yourself to your big client, in addition to what you're charging your current retainer, your existing fees, you want to discuss an arrangement where in addition to the current retainer, you want to take a percentage of particular sales that produces residual income for your business, which is a good way to be able to, make more money without working 10 times harder. So you would approach your client and say, hey, look, I know we're rolling out an extra 3 to 5 products within the next quarter. I know also that you're already investing $25K per month with me. I'm not expecting for you to go ahead and invest another $25K per month for each of those product launches. However, how about this? I'll help with everything. I'll do exactly what we did with the other arrangement. However, I'll take 5% of sales revenue or gross sales revenue as a direct result of my efforts. And most of the time, they'll have all the tracking systems in place because you're dealing with a high growth, mid-market or large company. So it's a brilliant way to be able to instead just get to make 25K per month. You'll probably bring in about 500,000. And or if they're really loving you, generally speaking, they'll give you equity share or stake in the company. But generally speaking, you have to be quite good friends with the decision makers to the point you really wow them or blow them away to the point they can see you as a potential partner in the company. Thirdly, strategic licensing. So before you get a little bit freaked out about strategic licensing, I'll just delve into a very simple case of this. I've got another video that actually delves into licensing, but for now, once you've proved yourself to your big client, just perform an in-depth analysis of your client's intellectual property. So what you want to look for is, can we license out their intellectual property to other competitors or strategic alliances within existing and or new markets? So what I mean by intellectual property is like, do they have a great internal how-to system? Do they have some secret technology or secret source? That's generally intellectual property that they own the rights on that other people are not able to copy or infringe. So can you take their internal intellectual property and license it to competitors or strategic licenses who will go ahead and pay a royalty to your client in exchange for having access to their particular markets of buyers? The other options, can we license in other companies' intellectual property to exponentially stack value to our existing buyers? So license in would be like, okay, NASA has a whole bunch of intellectual property, some open source patents that we can license that will essentially add much more value to our existing buyers without us having to create that intellectual property from scratch. So once you've got those ideas down packed, you've done some strategic brainstorming about strategic licensing, then you want to orchestrate a strategic licensing agreement to receive a percentage of royalties on either side. So depending upon the licensing agreement, you might get the royalty from the client side or you might get the royalty from the licensee side. If you want to go ahead and find out more about strategic licensing, feel free to click on this YouTube video. I'll put a URL. Feel free to click on the YouTube video URL that I'll put within the description that explains how on earth do you do licensing but do $1 million licensing deals. And last but not least is, how do you generate finder's fees? By becoming a mergers and acquisition scout. So once you've proved yourself to be a big client again, find complementary businesses that could merge or be acquired by your client in order to 1, improve upon existing product development, 2, expand into new markets of buyers, 3, add tremendous value to existing buyers, or overall increase the market cap of your client's business. So essentially you want to orchestrate an arrangement whereby you are provided a finder's fee for every business your client acquires and or decides to merge with. And in some instances I've had clients like exactly have the same arrangement with me, and they've given up to 20,000 US just for one referral. You know, you don't have to buy the company, you don't have to orchestrate everything. You just have to be what I call a mergers and acquisition scout. So I'm sure at the moment with all this content, your mind's blown. You may be feeling like, oh my God, where do I start? You know, what's going on? Well, you definitely start with the information I share with you, but not to worry, because as long as you made it to this point where you had enough energy and commitment to watch this presentation, you can do this. You are worthy of this. You are able to make it happen. So if you're ready to become the next 100K per month case study, click the link below or the link in the description to see if you qualify. So big thanks for being able to watch this presentation all the way up until this point. Like, for you to be able to commit time out of your busy schedule to watch today's presentation, not only am I thankful that you're open to hearing about my breakthrough ideas and my breakthrough system, but you had the courage to learn more and to tell yourself that there's a better way of doing things. So essentially, how did you go? Please feel free to share this video with fellow friends or associates who are looking to finally hit 100K per month without doing any of the fulfillment. So big thanks, looking forward to seeing you on the next video, and bye for now. And if you're ready to become the next 100K per month case study, click the link below or the link in the description.